Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's Daf Yomi, which is Yevamos Kavches. We are 3 lines from the top of the Amud. Back to Miyun. The Chachamim, out of concern for the welfare of a Ketana who is orphaned, without anybody really to, any authoritative figure really to look after her, Chachamim allowed her to get married to Kedushin D'Rabbanan, but gave her an easy departure. She can just walk away, reject this man, perform Miyun, and she's out. Tana Rabbanan, how exactly does Miyun take place? Zehu Miyun. Amra, she gets up and says, look, Ef shi bepleni bali, I'm uninterested in this fellow, my husband. Or, Ef shi bekedushin, sheketshuni imi ve'achai. I'm not interested in the kedushin done on my behalf by my mother, my brothers. That's standard. Miyun. Yasser al kain amar Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda adds, on top of this, I'll give you another example, which is perhaps a greater chiddush. Afilu yesheves ba'piri, and look, she's sitting in this canopy on the way to the chuppah, v'lechas mebeis avia lebeis bala, being transported from her home to her future husband's home. V'amran, she makes this by the way comment, I'm really not interested in this whole thing. Ef shi bepleni bali, I have no interest in this fellow who's my suggested husband. This as well. Even here, when, look, nobody's forced, she can just get up and walk away, and she sticks with it and still complains. Zehu miyun, it is also a form of miyun, and that terminates the relationship. Yasser al kain amar Rabbi Yehuda. Furthermore, says Rabbi Yehuda, here comes even a greater chiddush. She's already married to this fellow. There are some guests, and she's serving them. Afilu hoyu urchin mesuben vebeis bala. There are some guests in their home. And she's standing and serving them. And she makes this, by the way, comment. There's no bezdin. They're not going to tell anybody. It's just a personal comment there. You know what? This fellow is not to my liking. Uninterested in him. This too constitutes miyun. Yosser al kain amar Rabbi Yehuda. Here comes even a greater chiddush. Afilu shigra bala itzel chenveni. Her husband sends her to the grocery to bring him a product. So perhaps out of frustration, she's just making this comment, which isn't really a true reflection of her attitude. So she gets up and she tells the grocer, look, I'm uninterested in this fellow, my husband. That also constitutes miyun. There is no greater miyun than this. So even though we can perhaps attribute it and excuse it as being not really so serious, nevertheless we take it at face value. She rejects him, it's over. Rabbi Chanida ben Antignos Oimer kol tinoikes v'chulu. In the Mishnah we learned that if a tinoik is too young to even look after her money, the money given to her for Kedushin, she's below 6 years old, that's too young for any type of Kedushin, even a Kedusha, a Ketana D'Rabban. Amar Vidamar Shmuel, that's how we pass in Alocha, Ki Rabbi Chanida ben Antignos. Continues the Gemara. Tana, we learned in a Brisa. Ketana shaloi miyana. You have a Ketana married to this fellow, she did not do miyun to him. But what did she do? V'amda v'nisas. She gets up and marries another fellow. Mishum Rabbi Yehuda ben Meseira Amru. So the name of Rabbi Yehuda ben Meseira, it was said that Nisu Eha, the very fact that she went ahead and married Shimon while still having been married to Reuven, Hein meyunea, you don't have no greater miyun than that. She's rejecting Reuven outright. So even though it's not a direct rejection, it wasn't really verbalized, but she protested with her feet, so to speak. She went off and married another fellow. That's the greatest miyun. So even though it wasn't beferish, it was just a remez, it was just sort of a hint, it works. Iboilu, here comes a shaila. Niskat Shema. She didn't get married to Shimon, only engaged. Is that also considered a miyun, a rejection to Reuven, the first husband? Perhaps only marriage to a second fellow, but Kiddushin, we're not sure. Niskat Shema. Tashma, here comes a raya. a Ktaina who was married to a man, did not do miyun, gets up and gets engaged to another fellow. Mishum Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira Amru. The halacha is kiddush sheha, the fact that she got engaged to somebody else while still married to Reuven. Hein miyuneh, we treat it like miyun. So even kiddushin has that same effect. Iboilahu, here comes another shaila. This halacha was stated in the name of Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira. Is there a machlekes? Is it something that's agreed upon by all shitas or not? Pligi rabbanan alei. Do the rabbanan disagree? The Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira, or perhaps they agree to this halacha. If you'll tell me that this is a point of disagreement, well, how far is the machlekes? B'kiddushin. If she went and did kiddushin with somebody else, here we have a machlekes. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it works as miyun. According to Rabbanan, we don't treat it as miyun. It's just a kiddushin. Is that the machlekes? Or yafilu b'nesun, or perhaps even if she actually gets married to somebody else, since she didn't really verbalize her dissatisfaction, she didn't actually reject Reuven outright, maybe nesun is not treated as a miyun, and perhaps that is a machlekes as well. Now, suppose you tell me there's machlekes even by nisuin. Okay, how do we paskin? How does the halacha follow? Halacha kemaisai. Does the halacha follow Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira's opinion that we treat this as a miyun? Or perhaps we don't follow his sheet. If you'll tell me that the halacha adopts Rabbi Yehuda's approach, is it bin nisuin? Only if she did a nisuin with the second fellow, then we follow Rabbi Yehuda. We say, oh, that's a miyun, but not by kiddushin. Or yafilu by kiddushin, or perhaps even by kiddushin, we follow Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira. We treat it as a miyun. So this is sort of a multiple question on top of a question. Tashma, here comes a raya. Omar Rabbi Yehuda Shmuel halacha Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira. We follow Rabbi Yehuda in both accounts. Rashi says that Haravayu Itmar, it was relating to both, whether she got niskadish to number 2 or married to number 2. In both cases, we follow Rabbi Yehuda, and this is a clear indication that indeed this is up for contention. Halacha mechlal de pligi, when you say that halacha follows Rabbi Yehuda, it's clear that there's a dissenting view as well. There's a machlekes. So indeed, there's a machlekes in both cases. And we follow Rabbi Yehuda in both halachas. There's still one question open. Are we speaking that she was actually married to Reuven and then turned around and got engaged, or married to Shimon, and then we treat it as a miyun? Or perhaps only in a case where she was only engaged to Reuven, since it wasn't really a solidified relationship, then turning around and getting involved with somebody else constitutes miyun. But perhaps if she was really married to Reuven, that overrides, and you would not consider what she did as a rejection. Tashma, here comes a raya to this question. The Kals say, the daughters-in-law of this fellow Abdan, who we had a few days ago, the Kals say the Abdan, Imra, they turned their backs on their husbands. They rejected. They didn't actually say miyun, but, Shada Rebbe. So Rebbe sent Zugi the Rabban, a peer of Chachamim, Libiv the Kino, to investigate, to see where they're really holding. Amrilu, they turn to these young girls, Nashi, women, Chazu, take a look. Gavraichu the Kaasa, your men are coming. Take a look. Who's coming? Amrilu, so the daughters, the daughters-in-law turned to the Chachamim and said, oh, those guys, Nihavu Gavraichu ditchu. You take them for your men. You can have them. Amar Rebbe, so the word got back to Rebbe and he said, you have no greater mean than this. This is an outright rejection. So what do we see from here? Even though they didn't specify miyun, they didn't say ef shiva pleni bali, with the entire seriousness and formality. They just hinted to their dissatisfaction. It's a miyun through remez. It still works. And the Gemara seems to treat this like the case where she went and she got engaged with somebody else or married somebody else. It's not an expressed miyun. It's not a specified miyun. It's a hinted rejection. No, so we see over here that even that works. My love, apparently, the Havana Siva, they were married and then they turned around and did this gimmick and expressed their dissatisfaction in a hinting fashion. still we consider it a miyun. So you see that even when you are married to Reuven, and then you hint dissatisfaction, it works as miyun. That would be a raya or shayla. No. Dahava mikacha kedushi. Perhaps they were only engaged to their men, in which case we allow even a slight hint to serve as a rejection. But perhaps had they have been married, then you need a real miyun in a formal way. So there's no raya from here. However, the Gemara concludes, V'alacha, Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira, we follow Rabbi Yehuda's shita that even a hinted miyun works. V'afilu b'nisuin dekama, even when you are married to Reuven, you turn around and you hint. You give a veiled expression of dissatisfaction, that also works as miyun. Rabbi Lezer Omer. So now Mishnah, we have a fundamental machlekes in how to treat a nisuin regarding a ketana. On her way out, all she needs is miyun. That's understood. That's accepted by all shittas. But what happens until then? Chachamim will masakin that this is considered a marriage. To what extent? So the prevalent shita, the Gemara will call it shitas Rabbi Yeshua, is that midrabanan, this husband has all the privileges and obligations as your conventional marriage arrangement. You can have her findings, her earnings, etc. Rabbi Lezer says, look, she's only a ketana. There's nothing going on. There's no status change at all. In fact, if she's coming from a Kohen family and she's now involved with the Yisrael in this Rabbanan marriage, it has no effect on her whatsoever. She can continue eating truma as though she was never involved with the Yisrael. The reverse as well. If she's coming from a Yisrael family, this fellow is a Kohen, he cannot feed her truma, even truma with the Rabbanan. That's Rabbi Lezer's shita. Because Rabbi Lezer says, look, it's nothing. It's just some sort of temporary, informal arrangement where the Chachamim look after the young girls to keep them safe and secure, physically and spiritually. So they allow this sort of arrangement, but it doesn't really have any halachic ramifications. And she undergoes no status change as a result of this marriage. Rabbi Shmuel, I made an investigation. I looked around. Chizrani, I'll call study Chachamim. I looked around and took a close view at all the various opinions relating to the Ktana's marriage. I haven't found one shita, one person who took a consistent view, Biktana, in this topic of Diktana. Rabbi Lezer, like Rabbi Lezer. She'as Rabbi Lezer. Rabbi Lezer treats her like a non-married woman. As though she's just, spending time with him in the chatzar. And after she interacts with him, she gets up, she's tevel, which enables her to eat truma again. At night she can have a truma. So even though she's coming from a Kohen family, and this fellow's Yisrael has no effect on her, she undergoes no status change. She can eat truma as before. Tanya, we have the same in a brayso. Rabbi Lezer Omer, ein masak tana klum. Don't give any credence to this relationship with the Ktana. No privileges, no obligations, no status change whatsoever. Vein bala zakai lemimtzi asa, her husband cannot keep her findings, her earnings. He can intervene, he cannot intervene with her vows. She passes away, he gets no Yerusha from her. If he's a Kohen, he can't tend to her burial. This is the rule. We don't treat her like his wife regarding any halacha, except for one. On her way out, she has to reject him. She has to do that formality, and that's how you terminate this quasi-pseudo relationship. Otherwise, it's mamish hefker. He has to have some sort of structure. That's Rabbi Lezer's shita. He's consistent throughout. Rabbi Yeshua Omer, no. The Chachamim attributes some a credence to this relationship. They give some chashivas to it. Her husband gets her mitzvah, what she finds, whatever she earns. He can intervene with her nedarim. She passes away, he gets the Yerusha. If he's a kohen, he can tend to her burial. She's like a meis mitzvah, she's dependent on him. This is the rule. We consider her to be his wife regarding all these halachas, except for one thing. No get is required upon termination. Ella sheyoyse b'miyun. Miyun is enough. Amar Rebbe, says Rebbe, Nirin Divi Rabbi Lezer B'Div Rabbi Shua. You know what? I like Rabbi Lezer's Shita more than Rabbi Shua. Rabbi Lezer Hishva Midaitz. Rabbi Lezer is consistent throughout. Big Tana, regarding the Tana marrying. There's no status change. There are no halachic ramifications. Rabbi Shua, on the other hand, Rabbi Shua sort of split. Chilik. My chilik. In which way? If he treats her as his wife, Tiboy you get. You need a get on the way out. But you're not requiring a get. So it's kind of difficult to understand Rabbi Shua. Either she is or she isn't. Why is Mion sufficient? Asks the Gemara. What do you mean? The Rabbi Lezer Nami, according to Rabbi Lezer as well, we find this dichotomy. If she's not really his wife, pertaining to all the halachas, then just walk away when you're done. Mion Nami lo Tiboy. Why do you require a Mion? Says the Gemara. Then I understand. Ella b'chdinafik. Well, Tepuk, you mean she just leave with nothing? We're trying to keep her structured and organized. You have to give it some resemblance of structure. Therefore, you need mian, but otherwise, there is no halachic ramification whatsoever. Now, Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov concluded with the Mishnah with a formula. Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov, Omer, he says, any akava, any withholding which is mina ish, which is due to this man, then we treat her as his wife. Kol akava she'ena mina ish. If she's held back, if she's staying with him, not because of him, because she has nowhere else to go. Kila ena ishta, we don't treat her like his wife. The Gemara will explain this statement. Actually, provide two ways to understand Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov. Hey chidami, what did he mean when he says akava she'ena mina ish? If she's staying because of the man. Or she's staying because of other reasons, external considerations unrelated to this man. He meant like this. This Tana is now staying with this man, and others came and suggested a shidduch for her. She responds, what are you talking about? I'm busy. Machmas pleni bali. I want to stay with this man. Zohi akava shehimanish. That is what we meant when we said akava shehimanish. She's staying behind because of this man, because of her bond with him. Now we treat her like she's his wife, which means, in order to leave, she has to do miyan, right? But machmas b'nei adam she'ena muhuganan li. Let's say instead of responding the way she did before, well, I don't want to leave this man. He's mine. She says, no, I'd love to get out, but there's actually nobody out there for me. There are no suitable matches. That's why I'm stuck with him. So she's not staying because of him. There's no semblance of relationship, and it's tantamount to miyan. Zohi akava she'enim and ish is considered staying there unrelated to the man, and therefore no miyan is necessary. That's one pshat. Abaye bar Abin and also Rav Chanina bar Abin, Damir Tavayu, they both had a different approach to explain this halach. Akava mina ish, akava she'ena mina ish means as follows. We're speaking about the method of her departure. How did this Ketana leave the man? And depending on how she left, that's how we'll treat her halachically. Nasan lo get. So she didn't walk away. She didn't do miyon. Rather, he gave her a get. She was a Ketana, he gave her a get. That's called Zohi Akava Sheimaneish. She stayed with him as long as he wanted her. It's Mina-ish. Right? She didn't just walk away. She wanted to stay there. She was interested in him. So we treat her as his wife. To the extent that if she left him with a get, he divorced her through a get, it almost appears, it's midrabanan, it appears like she was really his wife, and now, what happens? We know that if a person's begarish and isha, her relatives are off limits, his relatives are off limits to her, she can't marry a kohen. Likewise, we treat this katana accordingly. Since she left this man, she departed via a get. He cannot marry her relatives. Likewise, she cannot marry his relatives. She can't marry a kohen. That's because she left with a get. It appears like she was really married. And Look, she got divorced through a get. Midrabana, we treat it as a regular get, with all the effects of a get. However, if it was akava she'ena minish, she didn't live with him for ishas, meaning she just walked away from him, indicating this whole thing really was a non-starter. So now we don't treat it like a proper divorce. And all the halachas of a get do not apply. So again, in the case of the get, we treat it like a regular get. Zohi akava she'ena manish. Sorry. Miyana boy. Holding my miyana boy. But let's say she walks away through miyan. That undoes the entire relationship. Zohi akava she'ena manish. V'hu mutar b'kraveseha. V'hi mutares b'kravev. V'loi pesala min hakuna. Asks the Gemara, well, that halacha is going to be explained in the next Mishnah. She leaves him through miyan. The whole thing is a non-starter and has no halacha gratification, no relatives, no psul kuna. It's a Mishnah. Haktani l'kamon. We have the next Mishnah, which tells us the same halacha. Hamamenes bi'ish. Haktana, who does miyan to this man. We don't treat it like a divorce. Hu muta b'krev yaseha. He can marry her relatives. V'hi materes b'krevav. She can marry his. V'loi p'salam min hakuna. There's no psul kuna. Nothing like get. Oh, if he issues a get, and that's how she departs. It appears like she was a g'dayla, it appears like a regular get, and we give it all the halachas of a gerish. Who asa b'krev yaseha, v'yasura b'krevav, b'salam min hakuna. So that's going to be the next Mishnah. Pirush Kamafar, you're right. The previous Mishnah was the opening statement, which will be elaborated upon in the next Mishnah. So what does the next Mishnah say? Hamamanas bish. She rejects this man. We don't treat it like a divorce, with all its ramification. But nothing like get. If she issues a get, even if it's a katana. But if she left him via a get, the observer might mistake this for a proper divorce. It might look like a real get, and therefore we treat it accordingly. He has no business marrying her relatives. Likewise, she with his relatives. She can't proceed to a kohen. Now, let's say she was back and forth to him. No son like get. Reuven was married to the Ketana Rachel. He gave her a get. Okay. Then take her back. Remarried her. Okay. Miyanaboy. Now, the second time around, she departed via Miyun. And then she married Shimon, another fellow. And that relationship terminated via Almana or Gerushin. He passed away or divorced her. Muteras lachsarloi. She can go back to Reuven. Typically, one may not retake his divorcee after she had remarried. But in this case, what happened? Although Reuven initially sent her with a get, but then he took her back and she departed through Miyun. He didn't divorce her the second time around. She left him through Miyun. So now he can take her back. It is not considered machzor grishasa. Everybody sees, look, she's a ketana. It's almost like the second departure undoes the effect of the first departure. Initially, it looked like a get. She's a gdela. But look what happened. The most recent departure was by way of miyun. It's clear to all that she's a ketana. So the second most recent experience undoes the effect of the prior get experience. So now she did miyun, married a second fellow. She can go back to Reuven afterwards. But in the reverse, it doesn't work. It all works based on the most recent experience, which leaves the most profound impression. It has that lingering effect on people. Oh, she left through miyun. She's a ketana. She left through get. Most recently, that's what we reckon with. That's what people remember. That's what leaves the impression. So if Miyanaboy, Reuven was married to Rachel, and then she walks away doing miyun, he takes her back. Nothing like it. Second time around, she departed via a get. Now she appears like a proper gerusha, and then she marries another fellow, Shimon. Shimon and Shimon are unrelated, by the way, right? She marries another fellow, Veniz Arba and Nizgar. She becomes almana or a gerusha. Could she go back to Reuven? No. Asura lasa loy. She can go back to him. Zaklal. This is the rule. It all depends on the most recent event. A get achar miyun. If the get was the most recent event, which followed the earlier miyun, that's what leaves the lasting impression. That's what determines. Asura lasa loy. She can't go back to him after having married another fellow. It's machzor grishasa. or at least it appears as such. But miyun achar get. If the first experience was a get, and then she leaves him through miyun, everybody is mindful now of the fact that she's a ktana. We ignore the first get. So even if she goes and marries Shimon, she can always go back to Ruvain upon Shimon's death. Muteres lachshavlai. So bottom line is, the most recent event cancels the effect of the previous event. Continues the Mishnah, but not always. Havama enes pish. Ruvain with Rachel, she left him through miyun. V'nisas la'achar. She married Shimon. V'girsha, and he divorced. She went over to Levi, la'achar. Umiyana. She rejected him through miyun. Miyana boy. She went over to Yehuda, la'achar. V'girsha, and then he divorced her. How does this work? Each person here has a different halacha. It all depends on the means used to separate, on how she departed. Ze'aklal. This is the rule to follow. Kol sheyoysa beget. The man from whom she left through a get and then married another fellow, asur laslet, she can't go back to him, because to him she's a machzor grushasa. So in this case it would be a second and a fourth, right? But b'miyun, the other fellows from whom she left through miyun, through rejection, which makes it clear that she's just a ktana. There was no gerushin. Muteres lachsaloi, she can go return to that man, even after having remarried another fellow. There's no machzor grushasa. Says the Gemara Alma. Let's go back to the first halach. We spoke about two different types of cases, pertaining to one man or pertaining to several. The Reisha discussed one man, Reuven and Rachel. She leaves him first time with a get, takes her back, next time with miyun. And then she goes marries another fellow, he passes away. Can Reuven take her back? Yes. Alma, osim miyun, umabatal get. So the second most recent experience, the miyun experience, undoes the effect of the first get. That's when it's just one person. Reuven's multiple experiences, the most recent one carries the day. Ramini. Let's move on to the next halach in the Mishnah, the Seifa, discussing multiple husbands. What does the Mishnah say? Ha miman enes pi'ish. She did miyun with Reuven. V'nisas la'achar, she went over to Shimon. V'girsha, and then they got divorced. La'achar miyanaboy, she went over to Levi. Miyun. La'achar v'girsha, she married Yehuda, then came Gerish. What happens? Zakal, we follow the following formula. Kol sheyatzasai meni beget. The man who issued the get, asur lasaloi, to him we treat her like a grusha, and after having remarried, he can be machzed the grusha. She looks like she was a gdoila, looks like a valid get. That's for him. But for his next door neighbor who did the miyun, b'miyun, the one from whom she left through miyun, muteres lachsaloi, she can go back to him, because everybody sees, she was just a ketana, there was no real marriage, no real divorce. So even if she left him and married somebody else in the interim, and then they terminated, she can go back to him, because the fact is, she left me, she departed my house through miyun. But my miyun doesn't help the first husband from whom she left through a get. Right? Apparently the miyun of the second fellow will not come along and nullify and undo the effect of the get issued by the former husband. Ubatal get to the day, and can't be mevatal the get of Reuven. So here we see that the later experience, the later miyun, does not do anything to nullify the effect, to undo the impact of the earlier get issued by the other husband. But then in the beginning of the Mishnah, we seem to say otherwise. She left me through get. I took her back. She left me through miyun. Then she married somebody else. I can take her back. I'm not being machzor grushasa. She left me through miyun. So the most recent experience undoes the former experience. The miyun is mevatel the effect of the get. So it seems to have a contradiction within the Mishnah. Here we say the miyun undoes the get, and here we don't allow it. Amar Vidamar Shmuel, you're right. It's a machlekes in the Mishnah. Tavra, we must split the Mishnah apart. Misha Shana Zu, the author of the Reisha, Lo Shana Zu, wasn't the same author in the Sefer. Two different opinions, meaning, when it's the same person who experienced multiple departures, she left me through me and through get, through me, of course the last one undoes the first one. Because it's the most recent experience that really determines. But what happens when there are multiple parties involved, multiple husbands. Can the miyun of the second husband undo the effect of the get issued by the first husband? So that depends on machlokes. Tanakama will hold yes. It's all about the most recent experience, irrespective of whether it's my experiences or your experiences. It's the most recent event that carries the day. Whereas the Seifa, the second Tana of the Mishnah, will hold differently. Shimon's experience can't affect Reuven's experience. Omar, Rava, what's going on? What's the kasha? How are you comparing the two cases? Apples and oranges. Umay kusha. There's a big difference. V'dilma, perhaps you can say, miyun didei mevatel get didei. My more recent miyun can undo the previous experience they get, because, after all, it's the same person. If she left me through miyun, that undoes any impression left behind by that first get. So that works. But miyun de chavri lo mevatel gita didei. But who's to say that the miyun that the other fellow experienced should undo the effect of my get? Two different people. People laser in, they focus on one person at a time. When she left me, she appeared like a gdoila. I take her back, I'm like machsa grishasai. So the other fellow's miyun can't have any beneficial impact on my experience. Big difference between the cases. Why? Indeed, what is the difference? We see a difference, but why is this a difference? Says the Gemara, I'll tell you why. Why is it so that the other fellow's miyun cannot impact my get? It's Xera de Rabban. You know why? Since this Ketana is very well versed and very familiar in her former husband's form of communication, so you can actually hint to her. You can use his hinting, manipulative procedures to manipulate her, to orchestrate her return to him. He wants her back. He divorced her. It's his fault. He regrets having divorced her. He'll go ahead and try to manipulate things, orchestrate her return. Try to get her to leave her husband and come back to him. Azl mishabish umaisla. He might actually manipulate her, orchestrate her return, bring her back home. Therefore, Chacham say, you know what? You divorced her, she's remarried, leave her alone. You can never take her back. Asks the Gemara, 1 second. Well, let's say she left me through miyun and then remarried. You're allowing her to come back to me, right? There's no question about that. The whole shaila was if she left me through a get and then she remarries. So you've addressed that. You're concerned that I'll manipulate, I'll get her back, I'll interfere with her new relationship. But she left me through miyun and then she remarries. In that case, you tell me I could retake her upon her departure from her current husband. What about orchestration and manipulation? Why is that not a concern in this case? Miyun didei nami, even if she left me through miyun, loy levatel gita didei. We shouldn't allow that to undo the first get that I issued to her. I mean, I give her a get and then she left me through miyun, and then she remarried. I can take her back upon her, having left a new husband. Same concern applies. The idea de makeres, since she's familiar in his way of communication, he might use his manipulative abilities and take her back. So why is that not a concern? Answers the Gemara, big difference. He tried his best. He was unsuccessful in keeping her home. She walked off. She rejected it. You see, if she left me through get, she wanted to stay behind. She wanted to stay married. Right? He gave her a get. He forced her out. She still likes him, Rashi says. She still wants to be back with him. He forced her out. So now he regrets what he did. And he might try to orchestrate her return. That's a real concern. But if she left him through miyun, he probably tried his best to keep her home and she just left him. She was uninterested. So he failed in this relationship. There's no way he's going to get her back. So there's no concern about being mishabish. And therefore, if indeed it so happens that she's available again, he can take her back. So that's not a kasha. We understand that very well. Ela ikashya. But rather, if you want to come up with a kasha on the Mishnah, I'll tell you. I'll give you a good kasha. the chavrei kasha. There seems to be an apparent stira within the Mishnah itself regarding several individuals. The chavrei kasha, between one halacha pertaining to his friend affecting him and another halacha pertaining to his friend affecting him. We seem to have a kasha, which is like this. In the beginning, the Mishnah speaks about Mi'ana boy ve'echzira. Reuven was married to the Ktana. She rejects him. He takes her back. Nosan la get. And then the second time around, he issues a get. V'nisas lachar. She marries Shimon. V'nis armala and his garsha. She becomes an almana, a grusha. What happens now? Can Reuven take her back? No. Asura lachsar lei. She cannot come back to him. That's the Mishnah. Let's make a diuk in the Mishnah. Ta'ama. This halacha only applies because the nis armala and his garsha. Apparently, it's only because she left Shimon due to almana or gerish. Ha mi'ana. But suppose she would have done miyun to Shimon. That miyun experience, which is the most recent event, would nullify any prior concerns. Muteras lachsaloi, she can come back to Reuven, even though she left Reuven via a get. We ignore the get. The most recent miyun indicates that she's a ktana, for all to see. So she can come back to Reuven, because Reuven never divorced her. Oh, what do you mean? He gave her a get. We ignore the get, because Shimon's miyun undoes the get. Alma, apparently, also miyun the chavrei. Miyun performed by my colleague can go ahead and undo the effect of my get. Umabatal gita today. That's one halach in the reish of the Mishnah. So we see that we can share resources. Your miyun helps me. V'ramini. Here comes a kasha from the seif of the Mishnah, which indicates otherwise. My miyun can undo my get, but not your miyun. Yours is yours and mine is mine. Hamamanas beish. She was married to Reuven, walks away. V'nis is lachar, marries Shimon, v'girsha. And she gets a get. Lachar, she goes over to Levi, umiyanabai. She walks away. How do we treat this whole succession of events? Each person to his own. Zakla, we follow the rule like this. Kol sheyotzamen beget, asur lachsalei. The second fellow from whom she departed through a get, we treat it as a gerushin, and she cannot go back to me after having remarried the next fellow, despite the fact. And after his get, there was a miyun done with Levi. We ignore that. Between him and her, there was a get. That's what determines. But the fellow from whom she left through miyun, b'miyun, Materas Lasloy, she can go back to him after, even after having remarried, because we don't view it as a machsa grushasi. Alma, it's clear from this part of the Mishnah that loyasi miyun dechavrei umavatal gita today. Your friend's miyun cannot undo your get. That's a steer in the Mishnah. So this is a good kasha. Amar Balazar, Tavra. We must break apart the Mishnah. The Mishnah was authored by two shittas. Misha Shanazu, Lashanazu, the author of the Reisha, was not the author of the Seifa. This is a point of contention. Can the other fellow's experience undo my experience? Ula Amar, Ula disagrees. I have a way to reconcile the Mishnah. There's no machlekes. Typically, even Shimon's miyun can undo the effect of Reuven's get, except in the following case. Speaking that she thrice went through Gittin. She was divorced 3 times. The Mercier Kigdol. 3 times get, everybody treats her like an adult. I mean, how common is it for a Ktana to go through a get 3 times? It's like a chazaka. Wow, she's for sure Gdola. She gets this name out there. She gets this reputation as a mature adult with lots of life experience. So that's what the Mishnah is speaking about. But if it's less than 3 times, then yes, we allow the later miyun to undo the previous get. Man Tana. Where do we find this Tana? We're going back to the suggestion, Rabbi Lezer's pshat, and we had that earlier as well, that there is a Tavra. We actually split the Mishnah into 2. There are 2 opinions regarding this case. Can the second fellow's miyun undo the effect of the first person's get? And we'll treat her as a katana going forward regarding all the halachas, even regarding machsa grushas. So one shita will say yes, one tana will say no. Where do we find this machlekes tanaim? Amar Vidam Rav. So Rav is one tana. Actually, Rav Rashi says Rav is a Tana Upalig, right? Rav was that in between the Tanaim and Amoraim, and we treat him as a Tana here. So that's one shita. Rav holds that in fact it's Asr, because we're concerned about manipulation, etc. We don't want this fellow to take her back. Amar Vida Amar Rav. My dechsiv meimenu bekesef shasinu. There was a point in history that we had to purchase our drinking water. Eitzenu b'mechiri avoyu. We had to purchase our firewood. What's this referring to? Alluding to Torah. There was a time in history we had to pay to learn Torah. B'shas sakana. During that time of danger, of decree, the Romans did not allow us to learn Torah. Nisvaksha halachazu. This is very halacha. Our sugi surfaced as a shaila, and they had to figure this out. What was the story? Suppose Reuven divorced the Ktana. She went married Shimon, and she left him through Miyun. Mau shetachzor l'rishon. Can she go back to Reuven? Does the second experience, does the Miyun experience undo the get experience? They didn't know. It was a time of sakana. No chachamim were available. So what did they do? Sachru adam echad ba'arba me'yazuz. They hired this fellow, paid him 400 zuz. Uba v'shal Rabbi Akiva beis asur. And he went and he smuggled himself into the prison to find Rabbi Akiva, who was imprisoned by the Romans due to his spreading Torah. And he went and presented this shaila in secrecy. V'asar, and his verdict was asr. Es Rabbi Yehuda ben Meseir ben Tzivan, they sent the same shaila to Rabbi Yehuda ben Meseir who lived in Tzivan. V'asar, he as well held that it's asr. One person's miyun cannot undo the other person's get. So this is Rav's opinion. Rav holds that it's us. Who is the chaylik? Who is the other shita? Amar Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yosi. Nah, this was never a concern. It's all a matter of what happened latest. The most recent miyun tells everybody she's a ktana. Lo zu lo yutzrachnu. No, we didn't need to ask this question. Why? It's obvious that it's okay. Le'isu karisi tarta. Look, miyun can nullify even something which relates to karas. An isha's ish is karas, right? Miyun undoes that. She rejects, she walks away, it's over. Le'isur lav lekoshken. Of course, it can address a possible lav of machzah grusha. The fact is she was memai, everybody knows she's not a grusha. Baram, rather, kach sha'alu. When we speak about the question presented to Rabbi Akiva in prison, it was regarding something else, totally different. You have an Isha who was married to his mother's brother. What is that? That's a shahi shniya. It's a shniya, it's a secondary relative. It's only asim d'Rabbanan. And then what happened? That fellow died, and she went over, she took tan, okay? She went over and she married V'nasa achav mi'aviv. So this fellow's brother, with whom he shares a father, went and married this Ketana, who had been married to his aunt. So Reuven and Shimon. Reuven had a mother, but a brother married to this Ketana. He passed away, and she went over to Shimon, who's Reuven's brother, with whom he shares a father. Thu May, and then Shimon passes away, and there is a Yibum circumstance. Problem is, this Ketana, let's call her Rachel, already established herself as an Isser Erva, a Shniya, the Rabbanan, because of her marriage to the first fellow, Reuven's uncle. Ma'oshe Timayin Hashta. The question is, can she do Miyun right now? To retroactively uproot her marriage with the first person. V'takrinu, and uproot l'nesun kamoi, that first marriage, which makes her no longer a shniya. She was only my uncle's wife, but if she's no longer that, she uprooted it. It never happened. So now all she is my brother's almana, and now she's ready for yibum. So the question is, yesh miyun lachar misa b'makam mitzvah oiloi? Can we do miyun even after a person's death to enable a mitzvah yibum, or it's not acceptable? That was the question posed. And it was really It was really a tough question. Sachru shnei bnei adam. They took two people, hired them. Bar bame zuz, paid them 400 zuz. Ubal v'sholos Rabbi Akiva beis hasurin, and they smuggled themselves into prison. Asked Rabbi Akiva the shaila, and he said, no good. Va'asar, you can't do it. The same thing was presented. Asked Rabbi Yehuda Kessler to him, Ben Etzivan, where he lived. Va'asar, he said it's no good. Okay. Amar Rav Yitzchak bar Asher, umaydu Rav. Even though Rav tells us that experience number 2 with the second husband. Right, back to the Mishnah. You have Reuven and Shimon and Levi. Reuven divorced Diktana. Shimon with Mion with Diktana. Shimon's Mion cannot help Reuven. Why? As we explained, because we're afraid that since she left Reuven by way of divorce, perhaps she still wants Reuven now. He regrets what he did. He'll try to get her back and interfere with Shimon's relationship if you don't allow her back. But Rav will agree, Umayda Rav, in the following case. Suppose Reuven, who gave her the get, he had a brother on the side. Typically, when Reuven is Megarish and Isha, a proper Gerushin, this Gerusha may not marry his brother. It's an Issa, right? In this case, she was just a Ketana. Reuven did Gerushin. Then she married another fellow who did Mion. We say, okay, the Mion, which happened with the second fellow, cannot undo the effect of the first get. We treat her like a Gerusha of Reuven, but that's only pertained to Reuven himself. Reuven should have a brother on the side. She can marry that brother. Pshita, of course, the concern that we had doesn't apply in this case. Why? Who knew? The Makeres. We're concerned about that manipulative husband, right? Or former husband. So she recognizes his, Reuven's, ins and outs. But Aval Achiv, Loi, doesn't have much personal identity with Reuven's brother. She doesn't get his language. He's not going to go manipulate things. He doesn't know how to get her out of the new husband. I mean, the whole concern is that he might manipulate. He might orchestrate her return. That only applies to the fellow with whom she was really married, but not his brother. So of course she's mutter to go to his brother. Says the Gemara, no, it's not so pashut. Perhaps I would think, ligzer hayatuha. We shouldn't allow her to go back to Reuven's brother, because if we allow that, she might actually marry Reuven himself. Ligzer hayatuhai. One on account of the other. Kamashmon, the chilish is, no, we're not concerned. Because, there's a second version, we are concerned about this very chashash. Amar Bitzchak bar Ashyan. Amar Rav. Just like she can't go back to Reuven because we're concerned that he might actually arrange that return. Likewise, she cannot marry Reuven's brothers. We treat her like as though she was their brother's divorcee, and she can't marry brothers either. What do you mean? The whole concern is manipulation, which doesn't apply to strangers. She's not familiar with because she's same with their hintings, with their language. True, there's no personal concern, but there's a gzera achivatuhu. If we allow it to the brother, she might end up with Reuven himself, and that of course is problematic. So let's do a quick chazara of today's daf. What exactly is miyun? How does this take place? So typically it's a formal declaration. I'm not interested in Yefshi. I don't want this husband. I don't want the whole arrangement. But we had 3 additional cases with chidushim. Even if she's on the way in the apirion, even if she's already at home, she just makes that offhanded comment, even if she's doing it perhaps as an expression of frustration, all these are considered miyun. Rabbi Yehuda Kessler adds, and we paskin like that, even if she doesn't say anything, she just votes by her feet, she just walks away and marries somebody else, even through kiddushin. And even if she was already married to the first person, she did kiddushin with the second person, that is the strongest act of protest which constitutes miyun. A Ketana cannot look after her money, kiddushin money, she's too young for that. Chacham does not arrange marriage for this type of isha. Now, what exactly is the status of a Ketana while married? We know that she doesn't need a get, she can just walk away and do miyun. But what about while she's married? Rabbi Lezer says, no status change whatsoever, there are no obligations, no privileges. In fact, even if her husband is a Yisrael, but she hails from a Kohen family, continue eating truma. Rabbi Yeshua says no. We treat it like a regular marriage, pertaining to all these halachis of Metzia, Masiyadeh, etc., etc. Of course, only midrabanan. Now, Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov tells us, Akava mina ish is ishtay. Akava she'eno mina ish is not ishtay. We have 2 ways to understand. According to first approach, what happened was people approached her with a shidduch suggestion, and she says, "Look, I'm married. What do you want from me?" Then we know she's really married and she needs miyun to leave him. But if she's saying, "Look, nothing suitable has come up," then we don't treat her as married. She does not even need any miyun. Then we have another approach, which is, well, depends how she left him. If she left him through miyun, it undoes, it uproots retroactively. There's no issur craving, there's no psul kuna. But if she left him by way of a get, she appears like a gdoila who just experienced a proper divorce. Relatives are off limits. She's puzzled to a kohen. And that takes us into the next Mishnah, which discusses that very halacha. And in fact, the Mishnah adds, suppose there was a succession of events. She left Reuven using miyun, and then he took her back, and she left him the next time with a get. Or vice versa, we follow the most recent event. Regarding two husbands, she left the first one with miyun, the second one with a get, etc., etc. Oh, that's a shayla. According to one pshat in the Gemara, all agree husband number 2 could not help husband number 1, and the reason was we're concerned about manipulation. Since she left husband number 1 through a get, he might regret that act, he might want to get her back, and that's a problem. According to the other pshat in the Gemara, this is machlekes Tanaim. This the shayla where they were concerned about this manipulation is machlekes Tanaim. All agree that if she had 3 gittin, she appears like a proper gdoila, and she has no business going back. It looks like a machzak rishasi. Now we left off with one shayla at the end. Even if you suppose that second husband's miyun cannot help the first person's get, what about to marry the first person's relatives? According to the first version, that's okay. According to version number 2, that's not okay. It's a gzera. She might end up marrying the fellow himself. Hatzlacha Rabba, and all the best to you.